Hello, Wonderhussy here in the beautiful but often maligned high desert of Southern California. Okay, the high desert is an area that, well, a lot of people who can't afford to live in LA move out here to Victorville, Apple Valley, Hesperia, and consequently it got kind of a bad reputation, especially with the snooty people who live in LA, oh, you live in the high desert. A lot of the people who live out here have to commute all the way down into LA for work every day. I can't imagine. Anyway, that snooty attitude is sadly somewhat warranted. I've been poking around the high desert here for a couple of days now, and there's a lot of really cool, beautiful stuff out here. I mean, for instance, I'm out here in this kind of boulder-strewn patch of desert with all these really cool formations that, well, it would be absolutely beautiful if it weren't for the unspeakable amounts of trash everywhere. I mean, I passed a number of no dumping signs on my way out here, but apparently people can't read, or they just choose to ignore it. I mean, God, what an ungodly assortment of detritus. I mean, this is like the effluvia of human lives in the year 2026. Old clothes, old baby stroller, Christmas garlands. For that matter, there's an entire Christmas tree dumped here in the desert to sort of bake away and deteriorate in the harsh Mojave sun, contributing to the microplastics problem that we're all facing. I think there's also a bunch of people camped out here. I guess this is BLM land. It's really not that far from the city of Victorville. I mean, you can see in the distance the Mojave River Valley flowing through Victorville and I-15 in the distance with all them big rigs blazing merrily along their way from LA to Vegas and vice versa. But I guess it is BLM land, and so you can technically camp for free out here for 14 days at a time, and it looks like there are a bunch of RVs and tents posted up there in the distance, and I'm going to give those folks a wide berth, both out of respect for their privacy. Okay, being homeless is not a crime, and there's nothing wrong with it, living in your RV. They're probably not the ones who came out here and dumped all this crap. I'm sure this is people who live down in the city, but also, well, you just never know. And, well, like I said, in the first installment of this series, the movie The Hills Have Eyes was filmed out here, just across the highway in Apple Valley. And so because of that, I don't know, I just have kind of a skeevy heebie-jeebie feeling about poking around these areas. I've camped in some very strange places in my day. I don't know that I would feel comfortable spending the night out here, even though it is absolutely beautiful. Trash or no trash. Anyway, you might be wondering, well, gee, Wonderhussy, why'd you drive all the way out to this trash-strewn, homeless-infested patch of desert just outside the town of Victorville? Or excuse me, I mean city of Victorville. Victorville is apparently a nickname some people use for Victorville. That is sadly sort of warranted because I researched it, and Victorville is like the 9th most dangerous city in terms of crime rate in all of California. So that's another reason why I want to give these folks over here a wide berth. I just want to make sure I can get out of here with my life intact and all 4 tires, which will be no easy feat considering the amount of garbage on the ground out here. It's funny, when I was driving out here, I was right behind a pickup truck that had a bunch of old tires piled up in the back, and I naively sort of assumed he was taking them to the dump or the tire recycling place or the yanteria. But unfortunately, I was behind him on the road out here, so I'm going to go ahead and guess he probably just brought him out here to dump them. And I do, to be fair, and it's kind of a controversial take, I do get why people dump trash in the desert, a lot of folks cannot afford to dump things in the city dump because they charge a lot of money in some places, you know? And so I guess it makes sense. You got a bunch of tires, you just got a new set of tires. What are you going to do with your old ones? If you go to a tire shop, they charge you like 25 bucks a piece or something to dispose of them properly. And so for a lot of people, they just don't have an option other than dumping them in the desert. I don't know. I don't condone it. I'm just saying I understand why people do it. Anyway, enough of my yakking and philosophizing about garbage. Back to why I'm out here. You know, why did I risk my tires and my life? Oh gosh, look, there's even a little campfire. Man, it's like the next slab city out here. They could start their own slab city, but call it Boulder City. Oh wait, there already is a Boulder City. Never mind. Anyway, the reason I came out here is, believe it or not, I did have something pinned on my map in this vast, mysterious, trash-strewn wasteland. And now that I'm looking at it, well, I don't know if it was worth driving all the way out here and risking my tires for. But hey, man, if you don't go, you'll never know. And you can tell me if you think it was worth coming out here, okay? This outcrop here has some very interesting faces carved into them. Look at that. Some artist, I guess, came out here and carved these kind of spooky faces into these granite boulders. Isn't that interesting? I don't know how hard it is to chip away at this particular kind of rock. I think this is granite, but I'm no geologist. Somebody can tell us in the comments if this would be hard to do or not, but either way, it looks like a lot of work went into it. Somebody out here chiseling away in the hot desert sun, giving faces and personalities to these rocks. Boy, the things these rock faces have seen. I don't know how long this has been a homeless encampment for, but golly, I can only imagine. Anyway, the only information that I have on this is on Google Maps. It's called Rock Faces by BMG. So I'm not sure if BMG are the initials of the artist who carved them or what, but if so, my respect. Hats off to you, BMG. I think this is actually really cool. Your opinion may vary, but hell, since I'm already out here, might as well climb around a little bit and see if there's anything else interesting in this area. In fact, why not just climb right up on top of the stone faces? I'm not gonna touch the faces and cause them to degrade because of the oils on my fingers. Oh look, there's even faces on the backside. I didn't realize this was a 360 degree kind of thing. Golly, I don't know, man. I think this rock would be super hard to chisel away like that. I mean, just to touch a non-carved area, this is pretty tough rock. I'm almost positive this is granite, and so doing something like this, I feel like that would take a long time. Again, salute, hats off. You know, anybody who devotes that much time and effort into a project gets my respect. Look at that. They're all over the backside of this thing too. Gosh, and then there's this like kind of mysterious, oh, I guess maybe that's just the beginning of a carving that the guy didn't finish. I don't know. It almost looked like a signature, because I feel like I saw back on the front side another spot where it looked like, I mean, this doesn't look like the beginning of a face. This looks like maybe it's the initials of the person who carved these. I don't know. It's hard to make out what that says. SZA. Your guess is as good as mine. Anyway, like I said, I was gonna try to climb up to the top of this formation and just kind of take a look around, but golly, I don't want to miss anything, so I feel like I got to do a 360. Apparently it's just this one outcropping that has these faces carved into it. Out of this whole giant vast field of boulders, this artist chose this outcropping in particular, and I'm not sure why. Again, I don't know anything about this place other than I had it pinned on my map. Someone must have told me about it. Or maybe I was just looking around Google Maps, which I do on occasion, just scour Google Maps looking for interesting stuff, and somebody had pinned this with the rock faces by BMG, and I thought, oh, what is that? I'm gonna have to go check that out sometime. Okay, well, we have arrived at the top of the rock outcropping, and sadly, there really isn't much of a view of anything other than the detritus of man, whether that be the garbage in the foreground or the industrial crap in the distance. Either way, it's an unsightly reminder of man's impact on planet Earth. I mean, just imagine for a second what this view would have looked like 150 years ago, 200 years ago, when this was pristine desert with nothing but Native Americans wandering around. I mean, it must have been absolutely gorgeous. Even 100 years ago, I bet it was spectacular. I mean, 100 years ago, people didn't have off-road vehicles that were capable of coming out here and throwing their crap away, but golly, probably even 20 years ago, it looked pretty good. I think it's just a sign of the economic times and a sign of globalization that we're able to get so much crap for cheap from China that there's just masses of it that people can't even afford to throw away, so they have to come dump it out here in the desert. That explains why it looks the way it does. Look, there's a bunch of people living out there in their RVs, and I mean, I guess the BLM never comes out here to enforce it. And frankly, why would they? You know, the homeless people have to live somewhere, and they started kicking them out of Walmart parking lots. You know, some people can't afford a fancy new Winnebago, so they have kind of old, busted up looking RVs that they live in, and a lot of RV parks are pretty snooty about that. They won't even let you stay unless you have an RV that's like 10 years old or newer. And so, I mean, these guys, they won't even let them park on city streets. In fact, I saw on one of the Victorville city limit signs, right below it, it said something about RVs are not allowed to park on the streets, probably because they knew if they didn't post that, there'd be a whole bunch of people living on the side streets of Victorville. So I guess just keeping them out here, out of harm's way, in the middle of nowhere is sort of the unspoken policy. I don't know. When I was driving out here, I was following Google Maps, and it kind of gave me funky directions along a really rough road that I didn't need to have taken. And as I finally exited that mess, I saw a sign saying, "No trespassing, property of LADWP," which is the Department of Water and Power. The same Department of Water and Power that sucked the Owens Lake dry to water the lawns of all those rich people in Beverly Hills. Anyway, I think a lot of this land, what we're on, is open to off-roading, so I'm not trespassing by being here, but the way I came in is definitely privately owned. But I guess this patch of BLM is sort of a no man's land and a free-for-all. And no harm, no foul. I mean, I got what I wanted. I made it out here. I got to see these dang rock faces, and it looks like my car has not been cannibalized, and all 4 of my tires are still intact. So I'd call it a win-win. Those folks get a place to live. This artist got an awesome palette to work with, and I got another quirky desert secret under my belt and another video for my YouTube channel. What more could you ask for? Anyway, I guess that's it. There's really not much more to film here, and I got more stuff on my checklist while I'm in this really interesting, slightly freaky high desert area. So stay tuned to see what other interesting places I visit out here next.